Hello, and we are live. Sorry about the slight delay there. My name's Flynn, and we're here with Adobe APAC Live, the very first one for 2019.
Yes, it's very exciting. We've got heaps to do today and heaps to do for the year. So, yeah, it'll be good times.
And thanks for joining. So, Jason Grant, for those who might not be familiar with the show, Jason is a regular guest, I suppose, now. Also, you've hosted a whole bunch of these.
Yes.
Yeah. But I like having you in that seat because you know the program so well. So, what are we going to cover today?
Today we're actually going to go through XD from basically a basic. So it's a boot camp sort of for XD.
Yeah.
And what we're going to do is we're going to show an example of a website that has been done in Photoshop.
Mm-hmm.
And then we're going to quickly just show you how you can import it into XD, as well as other programs like Illustrator or Sketch. You can do the same, but I'll show you how that looks. But then I'm actually going to recreate the whole website in XD alone. So, and hopefully, and I put this out as a challenge, as a Pepsi challenge, is that you can actually definitely design work a lot faster in XD than you can Photoshop.
Right. And
So-
I've been saying off air, I've been playing around in XD a lot lately and quite a convert. So I'm pretty excited to dig in and kind of help my fellow designers out there who might still be designing for screens in Photoshop and InDesign and even Illustrator, and how efficient it can be
Yes.
just using XD, which has
Yeah.
been built from ground up just to do this. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, definitely. It is built for speed. So, it is really fast and it is a great way to actually design. Like again, design is always it's a process that you go through. You see what works, what doesn't work, you go back and forth. This is where XD comes to the forefront.
Awesome.
So it is a great tool.
Well, we're going to get under the hood very soon. If this is your first time here at Adobe APAC Live, first of all, welcome and thanks for coming. You can log in using your Creative Cloud ID in the top right-hand corner, and that's how you can jump into the chat. So, hey, Charles, I can see Charles in the chat room there. So if you log into the chat, you can ask questions as we go. We're happy to answer as many questions as we can, particularly while we have Jason here. So if you are interested in becoming a digital designer, if you're a student, you're interested in the world of digital design, if you're a veteran, come in and test our knowledge and see how we go. I'll defer all the hard questions over to Jason over here. But yeah, jump in with your Adobe ID, ask us questions. We'd love to find out where you guys are from as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think like if you're touching on that, like a lot of designers now, they're definitely been asked to more and more design for the digital space. It is one of the most popular mediums that we use nowadays. So this is a great way to actually segue into that. It is a lot more easier tool to actually use. So don't be afraid to actually do it. It's like, oh, it's another program to learn. It is a simple program to learn.
It's super easy. Yeah, I found it really, really easy.
So here we are. We're actually jumping in. So this is an example of something that of a website that has been designed in Photoshop. So you can sort of see we have all the basic elements. If we go down to our layers, you can actually. This is when it starts to get quite complicated and so forth. So a lot of option dragging, a lot of copy and pasting and so forth, which is great. And I'm sure there's a lot of people that are very fast at doing it through Photoshop and so forth. But what is better is if we just close this off. We don't need to say that. Let's just minimize that. So here I have what was the file I just showed you. So you can sort of see if I pull this straight onto XD, it will open it up and it will preserve all the same editable options that you have in Photoshop.
Right.
So here you can actually see I can still go in. I can double click right down into the actual picture. I can move that around, rescale. Same with text. I can go in, change that and so forth. So really great if you have done designs in Photoshop and you want to have a little play with XD. This is where you can actually do it. Again, we touched on before, exactly the same with Illustrator. You can drag over your Illustrator XD file, UX files into XD. Same with sketch files. So,
Right. And so you could do that just with any Photoshop file. So
That's right,
That's
yeah.
a challenge for people at home. If
Yes.
you just have any file, even if it wasn't meant for the web, see what happens when you drag it into XD. And also just a shout out for those out there that might not know, even if you don't have a paid account, you can actually download Adobe XD.
Yeah, so there is a free option available. I think you can get 2 gigs of space and you get one prototype.
Right.
So
Cool.
That's something, again, get your hands dirty. If you've got the actual Creative Cloud itself, if you've got the full all apps, then it's up here in one of your apps. So
Very
you can
cool.
actually download that and or either open it or so forth, and play with that now. You will also notice that you get a lot of updates that come through with XD, and there's a good reason why they do that, is because every month they're trying to improve it and make it better and better. So this is where XD is always constantly improving. If you had a look at it a year ago, it is a vastly different product now.
Right.
So it's always good to notice that, because it has improved, tenfold.
Yeah.
I think last year alone they had over 60 updates.
Yeah, which is pretty quick. Pretty quick work there.
Yeah, guys are busy, so we're all busy. Designers are super busy, so yeah. Okay, so let's jump in, and I'll start to show you how easy it is to design and give you a little, 1, 2, 3 of Adobe XD.
Let's do it.
So typically your home screen is, this is our home screen. So XD itself is an end-to-end solution. So you got design, prototype, and share. So designing, and this is where we're going to focus a lot of today on. So we're going to do a lot of the design aspects. I'll touch on quickly a bit about prototyping, and also how you share. So you get reviews or share off to developers.
Great.
So that's the main thing. Maybe we're going to do another session where we'll delve a bit deeper and go a bit granular in some of the functions. But as a good overview, this is where we're going to start.
Always good to start at the beginning.
Yes. So here you can sort of see we have up here, we have the standard units, standard sort of screen sizes that we can start with. You can make your custom. You got the begin tutorial. If anything that today doesn't resonate or you need to have a refresher, you can start with that. And then we've also got our recent documents. So a lot of the recent documents here. Anything else you want to know, if you go down the left, you can see what's new, learn and support. So what's new will show you one of them 60 updates that they did last year.
Right.
Provide feedback as well. So if there's anything that does it do this or can it do this, there is a very transparent and a democratic way of doing and actually improving the product. So it's a user voted.
Yeah,
so
it's like Reddit for development.
Yeah, well, it's a great way to actually be, because it's not like, hey, we know how it's exactly done.
Yeah.
How do you use it? We have ideas around how we actually think you can use it and get the most of it, but it's also good to hear, from the people who are in it every day.
Absolutely, yeah.
So let's just start. So I'm going to start with standard web page. So straight up, we can see here, and I'll give you a quick overview of the interface. So up in the top left, so we have the little house icon. That is where we were, the home screen. Next is the design. So that's where we're going to spend a lot of the today on. And I'll go into that a bit later. After that, you have prototype. So prototype is where you build out how that interactions or the intentions you have with when you are creating a website, how that actually works. So that's a great way to actually do. And when you're actually getting approvals for websites and apps and so forth, this is where people actually have to get in and actually touch it and see what works and what doesn't. So that's where a lot of work is done. And then if you move all the way over to the far right, you got the little icon here. This is device preview, so you can actually plug in your phone. And then upload live, your design, and you can change it and, have someone actually working on it.
Which is so great. And it's so interesting when you design something and you think, oh, it's so easy to use. And then you give it to someone else and they won't click that one button that you've designed. Right. You're just thinking, click the button. But actually, there's probably a flaw in your design that you need to be aware of.
Yeah, well, yes, yeah. I know designers don't like to admit it, but but again, it comes down to user experience, UX.
Yeah.
So that's where it's all about.
Yeah.
Then here we have the play button. So this is where you can actually test it on the fly for yourself. And I'll show you how that works. And then next we got share as well. So you got share document, which is a new feature that just came through, where you can actually save everything onto the cloud and share that, so you can actually access it wherever you want. This links into your Adobe assets. So with your cloud membership, you may have 100 gigs. This is where all this is stored. And then you got share for review. So if you're going to share it to a client, and you can get feedback and comments on that. Next, development. So if you're going to hand it off to a developer, he's going to build it out and make it live. That's the next step. Manage links is where you can preview what you have done, which is stored on assets.com, and you can record naturally as well.
Cool.
So yeah, quick overview of the software. Next, so here we're back into design. If you go down the left side, these are the tools that you use. So you've got your basic tools, and the shortcuts to it are very similar to every other program. So select is V, rectangle R, ellipse E. So you'll get the
Very
hang.
familiar, yeah.
Yeah, and if I do jump around and go, how did I just jump from that? It's because I'm trying to use my short keys, and I will try to highlight when I do use it.
That's okay. I'll jump in there as well.
Okay.
Hey, while we're going, I'd be really interested, anyone in the chat room, if you've used XD before, or if this is your first time, and so you're watching it to see if this is something you might be interested in.
Yeah.
Super curious where you're at. Have you used XD before? Let us know in the chat.
Please, yes. So yeah, jumping down, right down the bottom, you can see here, this is assets. So assets, this is going to be a great tool, and this is where it sets things apart. So, these are where you can create assets that are relative to the actual project you're working on here. So we're going to rebuild a website here, and I will add assets into this, and I will be able to change this on the fly, even though I'm knees deep into the design, and I can actually go back and very quickly change it. So this is a wonderful tool. And there are other tools, we still have CC libraries that can also work with XD, which is really good. CC libraries, so you can add, whether you want to add UI elements that you've created in Illustrator, and then you want these to be working across into this site, you can actually add them as well.
Cool.
So design system-wise, that you can go as deep as you want, or you can be as local as you want.
That's awesome. So for all the first timers out there, shout out to everyone in the chat room, by the way. Jane's used XD before. Christy asked, do I remember you from last year, Christy? If I do, welcome back. First time, very interested. Well, I've only just started playing around it for the last couple of weeks, and I'm such a convert, so I think you really like it. Harisha's new to XD. Welcome. We hope we can help you out. We've actually got some really great resources that we're going to talk about and share with you. So not only from what we're doing today, but like a Slack community we'll talk about in a bit, and also a lot of free resources to get you up and running really quick. Camille's here for the first time. Charles C. looks awesome. Have played with it. Want to see its power. Just you wait, sir. I hope you're sitting down. Casey, all new. That's great. It's a really good mix. We're going to have a lot of fun here.
Yeah.
We'll get back to it. Thanks for everyone for jumping in there and letting us know.
Yeah. No, again, I think for the newcomers, it's fairly intuitive. And if you're familiar with any of the design programs, you will take to it like duck to water.
Yep.
And you will enjoy it. I really do enjoy designing within XD. It is fun.
Yeah.
So back on it. So here we just touched on assets, and then next we have layers. So again, you have new improvements coming through. So you can search through your layers. So where did I put that logo? Because the layers are sort of contextual in a way. So they don't just open up and show you the full swathe until you double click and go deeper and deeper into it. That's where layers work. So
Cool.
Slightly different. Again, they're trying to reinvent how designers do it and keep it relevant to what designers need.
Right.
Not just putting in a feature for the sake of it, to make it better. So that's always good to know.
It's cool.
Looking out for you.
Yeah, and also building an app from scratch very purposefully
Yes.
has that huge advantage as well.
Speed is amazing.
Yeah.
So here we have our artboard here. I'm going to zoom out. This is what we call the Infinity artboard.
Big fan.
I believe there was a challenge that you can actually see if you can break it.
Yep.
So, let's have a go. I've had artboards with 1,500 different artboards on it, which is amazing. And just moving around and zooming and all that, it is the speed of it and the power of it is really amazing.
It's pretty incredible, yeah.
So if I click here, you can see on the far right, it's a contextual artboard. So here I'm in artboard. So all the elements here, so I've got my size that I have is all relevant. And then I've also got scrolling and so forth. Different elements that are for this. If I hit R for rectangle and I want to draw a rectangle, then it's going to show you rectangle elements that I actually need. So,
Right, and so you're talking about that contextual menu on the right-hand side. So if you miss that, when you click off there, you don't have that changes. So that's great because nothing's selected. But when you draw that rectangle, it'll give you what you need.
Yeah, so if I hit A for artboards, then it's going to show me already predefined sort of artboard sizes. You can always do your custom one if you want. But again, it keeps it relevant, and then you don't have as many panels.
Yeah.
So, you focus on your design, which is
very cool.
Where we want. So if I start here, I'm going to try to keep good practice and just call this home. So you can rename this, which is really good. Once you've done it, You can also click on the artboard itself. You know, you can press Command D, you can dupe it, you can do whatever, copy, paste, move it around.
Cool.
Very flexible.
That's how you
approach
duplicate it really quickly. Okay,
Yes.
good. I'm learning myself. This is cool. This is just my private lesson that you guys get to watch along.
Yeah, wonderful. So now, okay, size-wise, if I can just grab the bottom, as you can sort of see here. I can pull this down straight away and just build this out. I want to scroll on website here. You see the dotted line here in the middle. That's basically it's the screen size, which is 1920 by 1080. That's the fold line.
Right.
So that's basically where you try to keep your initial designs within that first screen when they open it up. So that's where you can actually do that. Always a good reference. Now, good designers would use grids. So I'm going to sort of use a grid for a while, but you know, we'll see how it goes. I just want to show you how you can, because I know there's a lot of good designers out there. So if I go over to the right, hit the grid button, I've got two options, layout or square. I want layout because I want my columns. I'm going to just do a basic 6 grid with 280 gutters.
Cool. So that's pretty standard.
For me, or for this design that we're sort of mimicking. But yeah, I think people can go as granular as want. I think, you know, 12, 15, you know, it's really how far they want to go. I'm going to break it a little bit just for speed purposes, but yeah, it's always a good guide to use.
Cool.
And again, you can always make that a default. So when you actually use it across multiple artboards, you can actually go in and change that. So next, let's go put in a background color. I can always put a square and then colour that and put that as my background, but I think might as well keep our grid like that. So that dark charcoal grey colour, I think, works the best. It's always trendy, it's always in vogue, is it not?
Yeah, why not? You can't go wrong with neutral colours. It's pretty much all I own.
Yeah, so now I'm going to just lighten the grid. You know, I don't want it to jump out and scare us all the time. So here we have basic website, we're ready to go. Didn't take long. So now let's start to add some basic elements. So I'm going to start by just putting some boxes in for pictures and a couple of little design elements, and then I'm going to put in some logos and so forth. So,
as we go, can we just have a quick look again at what we're referencing, just for some people that might have joined a little bit after when we started? Just a bit of a recap of what we're about to step into. This is a file, this is a website design that has been created using Photoshop completely.
That's correct.
And we're actually going to recreate it in Adobe XD.
Yes, yeah. Hopefully give it justice. But, you know, again, I think speed-wise is really what we're just trying to show, and then that functionality within XD and how well you can actually do things.
Cool.
So I'll try to jump back and forth to that so you can actually get a good reference point, and then you can judge me on how bad I redesign. So here we've got our first hero picture. I'm going to just put the black in as the background. So here's my square. Let's just move this down. So on the right, I've got pictures and colours. I'm going to hit this. I want to just put this as the black. So you can see here. Now I'm going to add this in for this panel here. So because these black and white is something I jump in and out of, especially for this design. So I'm going to add that here. And that's just a quick reference point when I change colours here. I'm also going to show you how you add that into assets a bit later.
Okay.
So there's our first point. Let me jump back. Now I have hit V and I can hit that and pull this up to the front.
Charles has a question actually.
Awesome.
Has repeat grid and appearance responsive size all grayed out? Why?
What's that?
Repeat grid.
Yep.
And responsive size was all grayed out at one point.
Because I hadn't had any elements to actually repeat on that, and responsive size. Yeah, I think once you actually have some stuff, and we'll show you a little bit of responsive resize.
We're going to get into that. Oh, that's cool.
Because that is an amazing tool to actually have, because you don't just design websites, you also got to make sure they're mobile friendly as well. You know, we do spend, I think we've actually tipped over that point where people sort of interact with websites more on mobiles now than actually desktops, which is good to keep in mind when you are designing, guys. Okay, so here I've got two pictures that I'm going to add in here. So they're my white boxes. Let me just scale this up. Now I would just want to put some copy in. So let me just add my headline. So headline here. So you can sort of see here. Helvetica New, I just want to keep it basic for now, but once I add these into assets, we can actually start to get a bit more funky and change it around and that as we go forward. Sometimes you may have a predefined idea of what you want to do with your fonts, but if you actually want to see what works and what doesn't, here you can actually play with this a lot better when you use assets.
Cool.
So there's my basic. Oops. So if I click out of that.
Are you breaking your grid already with that third box?
This is just layout.
Okay, all right. Get anxiety when it's not all lined up.
That's all right. Very nice.
I'm not calling you out. I'm trying to learn myself.
I felt like I did.
Yeah, that's all right. No
so
pressure.
here, again, you can either click and add text straight up, or you can actually, draw a box and you can define it into an area as well. So
right.
There's multiple ways you can actually add text. So if I put body copy, and I will make this just regular text, and 16 point. So now I just want to add some color in. So I'll go over to the fill. Add white. I think that's pretty decent color as it is, and I might just lighten this one up.
So as we go, just a quick shout out to Hey Ivy and Divya. Nice to see you in the chat. For those that are new, because there's a couple people saying that they're new, you can ask questions as well. So as we go, we'll do our best to try to answer them.
Yeah, easy questions. So I've got basic setup here, so I might just click and option drag this across, and then align that over here. So there's my very basics here. I might pull this up again, option in drag. I'm going to pull this up the top, and I will make this my menu. So we will have.
So you're making a navigation menu now up the top?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
So this is something that I will show you a bit later as well. We're going to make this one a symbol as well. The reason being, with symbols, again, repeatable design elements. And when you are doing a multi-page website, you're going to have that menu many times. If you wanted to change it, you change the symbol and it will change and replicate across all instances.
Just instantly change it all.
So beautiful.
Very cool.
Now I've got my menu. There's 4 categories that I have. I can always option drag that across as we go. And we've already been asked about repeat grid, so let's hit that and show you what that's all about. So,
this is for you, Charles.
Yes, this is for you. So here you can actually see it turns green. If I really zoom in, you can see it has that little sausage next to it.
The sausage.
Up and down. That's the technical name. So I can pull that across, and it shows how many instances I want to do of this. 4 times for this, and I can still move around and play with the padding as well.
Yeah.
I pull it across or pull it down. Really, how far? This is where you can actually start to see. And we're going to do another instance where we actually do it with pictures, which is really good. So when you create repeat grids, I can align this to the overall board. So if you have text in a repeat grid, you can have a text document that you can drag onto it, and it's going to push that across. So a basic text document will actually filter into that. Same with pictures. You can drag your pictures onto a repeat grid into boxes, and they will populate through. So very good to know.
Very cool.
So we've sort of started. We've got our little home page here, so everything's above the fold. So I might just want to add my logos. So I'm just going to go over here. So I can, you can actually go through and import these in. Let's just drag them in. So SVGs.
We all just drag and drop these days, don't we?
We do.
No one imports anymore.
That's right. So here I've got my design, put my little logo up in the top right. And then I will also add in my wolf icon. So
designers love wolves and triangles, so this is perfect.
So if you need an idea for a tattoo, here's a great one.
There it is.
So here we've got basic wolf. So he's already lined up. So very basic sort of website here. Now let me just add in the two more pictures, and then we're almost halfway there. A third of the way there.
Third of the way.
Wow. So here I've got that, and I think I actually need to give this a category name. So this one is travel. So let me just type in travel, and I will make this bigger. So let me, whoops. So there is my travel, and I will squeeze this in here, and I can rotate that around. Oops.
Travel, very cool. Where was the last place you travelled to? Did you go away over the break?
I was fortunate to go to America, so which was, it's always wonderful.
Nice.
Interesting, and yeah, just the grand scheme of things that America is known for it's just it blows me away.
Yeah, cool.
So let me just put in a little line here. I will line this up here. I can go in. I would make this white, and I think I need to add this so that way I can use that a bit more. So I have my copy here. Let's make this white as well. And there. So again, very quickly, easily done. Not too hard.
And everything snaps as well.
Yeah.
When you really need it to.
And then you can see the smart guides come through as well, which is always handy. So you've got your basic design elements here. So let's move on to the second part of the design. So here we're going to do a repeat grid with images.
Cool.
So I have my basic square, and what I'm going to do is pull down. So I hit V so I can copy and option drag down my headline. So I've got, this is my design element. So here you think if you're going to do caption boxes, whatever you want to do, this is a great way to do. The 3 circles with text underneath? That's very common in websites.
Yeah.
That's another example of when you could use it. So I've selected both elements, and I can hit repeat grid now. And again, the green sausages come up, and I can drag this across and pull this down. So here I'm going to have this as a series of 5 boxes. So I will ungroup and delete one, but I just as a before I get that design right, I just want to put everything.
I just love my design teachers always used to call it idiot-proof bits of software. And so like often when you're kind of like designing things either by eye or trying to make sure that you do the same amount of steps or anything, there's always that human error that's possible. And I love these little things that just basically make it almost impossible to make those minor errors. Like a repeat grid. It's so cool.
Yeah, I agree as well. So, like things that also just make your life easier, I think.
Exactly.
That's where we're one of the beauties here. So, okay.
Sorry, just before you go on, Divya, will there is a replay of this, so you can watch the replay as soon as it's back up if you missed how to do the grids. If we have some time at the end, we'll show you how to do that again as well.
Yeah.
So we'll see how we go. But we'll keep going for now. But if you can stick around, we'll try to cover it again at the end if we have time.
Yeah, I'm going to do a couple more grids.
Okay. We're going to do some more grids, so we're all set.
So
cool.
More the merrier.
Hey, Vingesh, welcome.
Hello. Okay, let's just, I want to add just one more picture in. So I can always do my box and just draw my picture like that, hit it to the grid, and then I can just drag a picture into this. So I've got my fashion one. This is a fashion one from Adobe stock that I pulled in, and then straight away that filters out. So that's quick, easy. So far we've almost done the second category. Cool. And I think we're going to pull down travel. So if I go to travel now, drag this down, and I'm going to call this one art, because it's all about the art. So I can double click this and call this art, and then just pull it.
Oh, so it flicked for you so that you didn't, so when you went to edit it, you could edit it, horizontally, but then it flicked back to how it was.
So we can read it.
Yeah. Very good. Legible text.
Yes.
Look at that.
So here we've got our grid. So again, basic elements. So if you were going back in and go, well, maybe squares aren't cutting it for me, I want to add something else. You can double click into the thing. You've got the icon where you can pull down. So this is something in Illustrator as well.
Can you maybe zoom in a little bit closer, just so everyone can see exactly what's happening here? See
the love.
Yeah.
So here you can just sort of see the element through here. I can pull this down to my rounded corners. On the right side, you can actually see where the corners are sort of changing as you go. So, you can either do it manually or visually, really up to you. So, great way. Again, if I'm adding text, if I want to I can change my text. I can move my text, center it, left, right. You can add elements into these grids as well. It's so much more flexible and easy and to do things on the fly. As soon as you ungroup the grid, then everything's like an individual element again. So depending on how you are designing, just keep that in mind because, you need to have both options.
Okay. Very good.
So let's, from here, let me add another headline for this. And I might also just add in a button, because we do always have click-through buttons when we actually do websites. Now, this button, again, I will make this into a symbol.
Okay.
Because again, you have a consistent design throughout, and buttons are one of them. Consistent design elements, and so it's best to make them a symbol, and that way I can still double-click in and change the text itself. But at least I can keep that style if I want it as an outline, which I'm going to do for this one.
Just before we do, we got a question from Christy. So, are the photos you dragged in linked to the XD file, or the image is embedded in the file? Which is a really good question.
It is. So these ones are embedded.
Yeah.
So if I drag them in, you can always use Adobe CC libraries, and then they are linked through.
Yeah.
With the library option. So what these do, it will downsize this again, it helps make it a faster and more responsive website. So, or design element. So that way you can actually do things at speed.
But they do fully embed, don't they, when you're using it? Like as
Yes.
opposed to, and Chrissy, because I had the same question. So if you compare it to something like InDesign, where InDesign needs to package and reference
That's
a file, but this actually just does have everything embedded within it.
Yeah. And the size itself, like
It's a
you
great
would think,
question.
yeah. So you would think that it would balloon it out. So if I
Yeah,
put
you'd
in
think
a 20 megabyte file, then all of a sudden the actual file size will be 21 megs or something like that. As an example, this doesn't.
Yeah.
So the size of it is amazing. Like it is really small, and it is a very nimble what would you say, design file.
Yeah.
It's amazing how easy it does these sort of things.
Yeah, I've seen files, like designers use files, and it's just you continue to zoom out, and it's just there's so much content in there, and it moves just as fast as we're moving here. It's actually pretty wild. You should try it out and see if you can break it. There's a really funny video actually by Howard Pinsky, who actually now works for Adobe over in the States. Before he did work for Adobe, he tried to break Adobe XD because everyone was bragging about how it was unbreakable, and he couldn't break it in the end. But it's a really hilarious video if you want to check it out. Howard Pinsky on YouTube. It's funny. Good times. Sorry, there was one more question. I'm sorry,
Yes,
I keep interrupting you, but how are you getting the images into the box? So you're just dragging and dropping from Finder, I think.
I am.
Yeah. Great.
So yeah, you can always mask. So if I go up to the top and hit Object, there is the mask with shape.
Okay.
So, and I'll do an example of that a bit later on.
It's like a clipping mask for people that are used
so you can
to...
draw your box, have your picture under it and mask it,
Yep.
or circle, or if you have some irregular shape. So you can do that, but I drag and drop, and it will try to do it. So if I double click, so this actually is a straight square. If it's outside that realm, it would try to center it into a good sort of space. So it is fairly intuitive when it adds the images into boxes.
Yeah, but then you still have the ability to play around with it if you wanted to.
So if I double click into my, this is
that
a
one's
straight image. Yep.
proportional, I think.
Yeah. So, but I will show you how that sort of works as well. So, so here I have my button. As I said before, I'm going to make this one a symbol. So if I hit my assets, so symbols you can add manually, right? So here I hit that and I have my first symbol. It falls down to the default name. So I will make this called button. So that way I know. And you can see on the right, just above my head, it's green. So that actually shows you that this one is actually a symbol. And the great thing here too, if you sort of right click, I can delete it, I can rename it, I can highlight it on canvas, which is really good if you've got a deep design file with heaps of things on it. Where is that element that I did? Highlight it on canvas. All instances of that will show up.
Yeah.
Same with colors, same with fonts, or characters, styles, which is really handful. Like you think what you. Well, I'll speak for myself. You think when you're designing something exactly how it's going to come about, but when you put everything on a page and all the elements are there, you're going to revise it on the go and try to adapt it to what that content is as well. So this is wonderful where you can actually keep going back and revising and improving your design.
Yeah, fantastic. And obviously make those client changes. you think it looks good, but you pass it to the client. They want to change everything, right? Has that ever happened to anybody out there in the chat? It's happened to me once or twice. And when that happens, you don't, end up losing days and days having to go back into your design, or again, even if you're in a studio briefing another designer and all these changes, you can actually make those changes really, really quick and just share it back with your client. Not straight away because you want to charge them for the day's work, but
Yes. Yeah, we don't tell the clients how fast XD is.
No, that's right. Yeah.
Okay.
Always, Christine. I know, right?
So I'm jumping back in. So here I'm picking up 5 images from my folder on my desktop, and I am going to drag these over into my repeat grid. So you can see here, I hover over, it sort of turns blue, and it will populate all the images. So I had 5, so that's why you see the 6th one. It just repeats it around again. So really good. I can still go in and say, well, actually I want this one over here, and I may want, because I know I'm going to delete my 3rd one, this one, I'm going to delete that later on, but I can actually still go in and actually sort of highlight that and move it around as well. So
pretty cool.
But it sort of does it sequential or alphabetical.
Right.
So if you want to know what the methodology around how it actually works out where to put it, so that's sort of how it does. So again, you've got your basic design. You put in your content. As I mentioned before, text can actually be added in. So if I have a nice a nice account service who typed everything, or a nice client who actually says, okay, these are the things or content I want to have, types that into a text document, I can actually add that in as well.
Right. So an example of that might be, say you're building an e-commerce website and there's 400 pairs of sunglasses or something like that.
Yeah.
It's going to be a very long manual job to sort of go through and do every single product number, for example, or description or what price, all that sort of thing. But you might have someone that's not in the design program and they can actually just type that list out and then send that to the designer, and then you can populate it, and you can populate like the whole prototype of the entire website very, very quickly.
Yes, 100%. Yeah, good point. And I might also use this to sort of segue into some of the plugins.
Oh yeah, cool.
There is plugins here, and I'll quickly actually show you. This is something we can actually go in a bit deeper in a say another sort of session if we have the chance. But there's things like Google Sheets. So here, Google Sheets actually, you can actually have a Google document that feeds into XD. So you can have copy or images or Google Images sitting on a drive, and this content can feed in and it can be updated, and you can sort of see here, you can refresh it as well. So a lot of great things. These are the ones I've sort of loaded in, and I'm going to play around with it a bit more. Discover plugins, so go in, have a look. There is a whole heap of plugins available. Some of it will give you images and content. There's lorem ipsums and all that stuff. And actually, if I go in, I might just go in to show you how easy and simple it is. So I go into my Icono. Whoops, let me select my artboard. If I go to Icono here, here has some basic iconography. So,
very cool.
If I forgot to put my little search button here, so it highlights, I have different weights. So if I make this maybe a 5, and insert this now. Oops, select.
So this is so good for when you're prototyping. Like, there's so many symbol libraries out there and things. You don't have to draw them yourselves. That stuff exists, and it can be such a time saver. Yeah.
So again, I think there's images as well that you can actually add in. Lorem ipsum. So here I've just added in my little magnifying glass, and you've basically got a quick element that you can help build out your website on.
Yeah.
So that's our sort of second sort of aspect of the design. We'll move on to the 3rd one. I'm going to just copy and drag this down, and I want to make this into a simple box. Let's make it around here. Occasionally when you break the grid, it's okay. I think most of the elements can sit in it, but sometimes when you break it, it works. You'll see that I'm going to realign it. So it's just that it just needs the little things to
to break it up. That's okay. It's okay. I'm fine. It's not freaking me out or anything.
Hopefully your teacher's okay too. So I've got my square here. I might pull this up, and then now I know that I have another element here. So let me just pull down this, and we will make this. I will align it to him and pull up the line oops, to the top. So you can see the smart guides come in straight away. Let's call this food. So have our guy up here. Sorry, I'm getting very detailed. This stuff, OCD on me. So let's pull this down. So I have, this is sort of our hero shop for the food aspects, but now we're also going to do is sort of a little breakout. So we have, 4 different elements, and I will have a headline underneath this. And now I'm going to repeat grid this one as well. So
Great.
I can actually do this.
So you can toggle that on and off. Obviously, you had it toggled off while you were copying those elements over because you didn't want to repeat grid then. But in this case, you just switch it back on.
Yep.
And you drag it across.
Yeah, and I can still, so I can go in and sort of enlarge this. You can sort of see it's cutting off, but that's something I can, move down a little bit. Let me just move my image down so I can put him in the grid. But yeah, it's again fairly basic, and you can move things around and sort of keep it as flexible as you want. Depending on what you are designing, you just want to have that ability to sort of, keep it. It's always great if you can keep it in the grid, I think. But naturally, you have to sometimes break out and do it differently.
Yeah.
So this is another repeat grid. Let's just add our imagery in. So I got food 1, 2, 3, 4. I can put this in and it populates straight through, plus my hero pizza shop. Hero food hero. There we go. So I have basically done a quick design as well. Everything's quite simple and basic. What I have here as well is I want to show you shape with mask.
Cool. Just before we do that, I feel it would be, you probably got most of those images from Adobe stock.
Yes.
But just a free resource out there. There's lots out there, but I use Unsplash a lot of the time. Unsplash. So if you're out there and you're just starting to get into digital design, they're like royalty-free images that you can use around. They're really great. Just for like doing quick designs and things like that. I use it all the time. So I'd be remiss if I didn't give it a bit of a shout out.
Yeah, that's fine. Funny enough, there's a plugin for that.
Oh wow, there's a plugin
so
for that.
If we go on here, Photo Splash. If I hit Photo Splash, okay, I haven't set this up properly. If I hit, let me see, Photo Splash, and it will start to say, okay, type in my keywords, and I will find content, and it will add that in. So, yeah, so you can see photos by Unsplash. But yeah, there is a lot out there, and it is makes things a lot more easier to create really strong content. So I'm going to just copy. I have my letters from that I want to actually add in as a design element. So I have my ZA. So I can copy and paste from Illustrator into here. And I will ungroup this because I'm going to add a picture in. So if I added a picture, I can drag and drop. But if I wanted to have that picture as one consistent element across the both Z and A, I have to do it slightly differently, which I'll show you how that's done. So let me just show you what I'm talking about. So pizza, if I added that in, it's just going to drag into 1 instead of 2.
Right.
But if I wanted to, make sure I want that as across both, so I'm going to add my photo in. I'm going to put it in as a sort of background, and I will copy. I'm going to just copy this before I actually do it, and then I will select my Z and my image, and I will mask with shape. So
mask with shape. Yep.
And then let me paste this back, send it back, and then do the same for the A. So different way to do it, but it can be done.
Yeah.
So,
can you group them and then put the one image behind it?
No,
you can't do that way. Okay.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
But I'm sure it will come. Every month.
Every month something new. Yeah.
Every month something new
to play with.
Okay, so now we have.
So let's zoom out, and have a look at this. So we've got our grid. We've got 3 kind of areas of focus.
Yep.
It's like this is like a single HTML5 web page.
Yes.
That we know very long form. And then, as many of my design teachers used to say, it looks like a website when you add a footer.
Wow.
I know.
Funny enough. So we do have, and I think you touched on at the start, that there are a lot of resources out there that you can actually use to actually build out these websites. Here we have, if you go up into File, we go down, Open, Get UI Kits. Straight away, you got Apple, iOS, Google, and Microsoft. So these are basic UI elements that they use commonly throughout their applications and so forth. Down here, I think this is always a great way to start, wireframes. And I will show you what this, and they've also got more UI kits. So if you wanted to actually look at, see how someone else has built out they commission certain designers to actually do this, and I think a lot of this is featured on Behance.
Yeah, so that's another thing we wanted to shout out for people that are fairly new to either Adobe XD or just digital design in general. Behance is so much content on there, from looking at what some of the best people are creating at the moment to understanding trends, and yes, trends are important, but also resources as well. So a lot of this stuff lives there. So this is a good way to get there, but you can also just kind of go to Behance and check it out. Yeah.
So here we got wireframes. So if I open that up, it's going to launch a new site, and here you got wire. So it has 2 wireframes available. If you scroll down, you can actually see what it is. So, whether you got opening pages, whether you got form pages, catalog pages, all that. It has a lot of options to actually just start a quick design. You can see down here. So I've already downloaded this. So I will actually just show you what that looks like.
While we're doing that, we've got a question from Greg. Is it possible to design animated out and active states for buttons? So different states for buttons.
Hover.
Yes.
You can have hover is come in.
Yeah.
And I think that's where we sort of touched on at the start. But if you go up here and provide feedback or and here you can actually see that user voice. So here it is before. I've already loaded this in. Feature request, tap hover is there.
Yeah.
But I think we're going to splurge a bit further into maybe in another episode, because I think we're running out of time. Animations, you can do auto animations and do overlays and so forth within XD now. So that maybe we're going to run out of time today, but that's something you can do, definitely. And it's really good to know that, how that works, because it's critical, I think. So this here, you can see it's user voted, so you should vote for it. We vote, we also vote. We don't actually get any, we can't speed anything through. So there are certain elements, and this is where democracy is in full swing.
Yeah.
So, we have all different options that are available, so you can actually see where the roadmap is.
Very cool.
So where was I? Okay, so I just want to open up, if I click on XD, open up recent wires. So these, it's going to show you all my sort of wireframes that you can actually use. So if I go into that board,
this is just zoom out again. This is like a really good example of like how much content you can just have in one document, and this is nothing compared to what I've seen people doing with images and different text and things like that. But it's just how quickly you can
moving around. I'm just using my trackpad here. It is great. It does you. Someone who can sort of navigate through this quite quickly, it would just do your head in, because it would just move so fast.
I love it because it's like for visual people, and I'm a visual person, so I love just having this enormous infinite artboard that I can just scroll around and move things and group things together.
I 100% agree. It's awesome. So here we've got UI items, and you said it's not a website unless you have a footer. Different options for footers. So I mean, like, this is just a starting place. So I know you're going to give it your own love, but here, if I just pulled something out, something you want with a little bit of a call for action, or email address, you need to sort of collate a bit of a user base here. So if I copy that, and I will paste this over here. So straight up, you're going to see here, it has the little, if I zoom in here, oops, so let me just go in a bit far. So you can sort of see this element. Here has the,
it's shrinking with this screen.
It's a little link symbol in a little green circle, right? So what this means is that this is a linked document. So you can, and this is how you want to set up your design system is really up to you, but this is linking back to this parent document. Right. And that means that if you have a standard footer that you use across 10 different websites, right? As opposed to creating this in this one website, and then if you had to do it in another website. You change that original, you would copy and paste it across. Hopefully you remember to. Here you can keep this on this master document here, the parent document. I can change it once here, and it's going to flag to me that, hey, this one's changed. Do you want to update? Really good, and I think this is something definitely we should dive a bit deeper in later on.
Does it change vice versa? If you change it in that document, does it reflect in here? Or is it one way?
Yeah, it's
so
one way.
That's the master document,
and
it pushes out.
That's right.
Right, okay.
And
good to know.
So if you can sort of see here, I'm right clicking on this, edit in source document, so you can always jump back in and say, hey, I can unlink this, and I will for this instance.
Okay.
Here you can push overrides as well. So if I hit unlink, so this is broken up. But now I can just scale this across, and then I will have a blue footer, but I will show you what we can do with colors and fonts, because we nearly haven't gone down that road yet. So here we have our basic website. Let me just go in, pull it up a little bit so it fits a bit nicely, and then we got our footer. So now
that blue is sticking out.
Yeah, it doesn't sort of work there, does it? So what I can do with, like I sort of said, we can change fonts and colors on the go. So good way to do this. You've done your basic home page,
right?
And this is where you start the design takes place, and you think, okay, now I've got my basic bones. Now I'm going to go in and finesse this. So I can hit the actual thing. I can do this individually as well, but for this example, I just want to hit plus. All the colors that I have used throughout that have been added in.
Very
so
cool.
As you sort of said, that blue's a bit not my cup of tea. I can go in now. I can actually, if I zoom in a little bit, if I actually right click this, so I can delete this color. I can edit it. I can highlight it where it was used on the canvas, and then I can actually do what is. For this instance, let's edit this because blue doesn't work. We want to make this, let's go black. So we've already got a black in there, but once you actually do it, it pulls it back in. So it doesn't replicate the same color.
So you won't have exactly the same color twice.
That's right, which is really important.
And I think it's really good for consistency as well. Like I know for print and also for web, I would often find a mistake I'll have is I'll have a black and then a slightly grayer black and then a slightly different black. And just, I'd end up with like 4 or 5 different kind of variations of the same color. So it's like a really quick reference to just make sure that you're being consistent.
Yeah, I agree. So here I'm going to edit another blue, just get rid of that, and let's pull a grey, and then that's done. So simple, easy, blue no more.
Cool.
Now let's click back in. I can add the fonts within this as well. So it's pulling out a lot of fonts from down below, which is a bit over the top. But what I want to do is, if I'm going to go here, so if I pull these ones, I might just take this back, and I'm going to add these in individually, I think, because it's added in all the fonts from below. Let me just add the 4 that I have. So these are the main 4, and I would actually replicate this back into the footer. But if I wanted to change this, let's click this, edit, and I can make this. So I have, where is it? Let me find a nice font. So you did know, I don't know if a lot of people also know that the fonts have opened up a lot since last year as well. So that's something that's always good to know. What font do I want? Let's go Railway.
Comic Sans?
Comic Sans? Oh,
always looks good on the web, doesn't it?
Yes. Okay. Let's just go something simple, Railway. Here, like you can see, I've got it in the art as well. So if I actually pick a lighter color, so you can actually see I've changed that. I can change the font to whatever color I want. I can pick out, I can go up here and I can pick out, make it gold, whatever. I can do whatever I want, and it's going to change all instances of that font throughout. So if I've got this, and let's go into our font here. This is our headline. Let's go. I think everyone has a favourite font. I like Sophia Pro. I think that one's always a good font.
Wow. What do you guys think? What font should we put in? You let us know. We'll put the first one in that we can find.
First one, yes.
Yeah.
So I have this. Edit this. Sophia Pro. Sophia Pro and Museo were always one of my favourites. Again, you can sort of see here if I change it, and you can see down below, it's just changing throughout every instance of that font. Great way to keep changing and revising and improving your design.
Right.
So let's go back to white. And then we've changed this, and then the last one is the body. So let's just change the body, and we can add in another Sophia, and that's done.
Comic Sans, Esteban.
Comic Sans. Right. Why does it get picked on so much? Okay, so here we've done our basic website quite quickly. I think we've got only a few minutes to go. So if I was going to do this quickly, let's just show how prototype works and then how quickly we can share that.
So just while we're counting down, I know we can go a little bit over if that's cool, if we can keep you for a little bit longer, not too much longer. But if there is a feature or a question that you guys have, now's a really good time to ask it, because we're getting a little bit out of time. So if you have a burning question or you want to see something again, we'll try and do the repeat grid again. I think it was a background grid that you might have been interested in, Divya. So let us know, actually, if you can confirm that. Because we did the repeat grid, and if that's cool and that's all you needed to know, awesome. If it was something else, please let us know. We'll try to take a look. I don't want you going away thinking that you missed something and still want to learn.
No, so I just want to quickly show, but if there are questions, shoot them through. But while we're sort of here, I just want to quickly show how easy it is to actually add this in. I'm going to do, say, once I click on, say, food, I just want to show you how that sort of works and how that would look. I have this as my background. I can add this in. Now you've sort of lost your menu up the top.
What was that little shortcut you just did then?
That was the sender back. So it's the same
sender
as
back.
Yeah, sender back, sender front. Exactly same. That is it. Command Shift bracket.
Christy asks, how do you duplicate the whole artboard? It was Command
D.
Command D. I only just learnt that as well. So.
Or you can copy paste.
Yeah.
So you can copy paste as many.
It looks cool when you do it really fast, though.
Everything looks cool. Yeah. I mean, so here, I've just added this in as a basic picture. You may have seen that. It's like here it is. Sorry, as a basic rectangle. This is something that people use a lot on light boxes and so forth, for hovers, and this is something we can show with animations. Hit background blur, and I would actually sort of make this a bit darker, but I can go in and change that.
My head's in the way.
Is it?
That's okay. Here we go.
Yeah, so you can see how that works. Quite simple. Again, and make sure that it sort of sticks up there. If I actually selected every one of these elements and I had a scrollable page, I can actually hit fixed scroll position. So here, what that sort of would look like, let's just expand this out a bit. So this is our basic website. We're going to hit play. So you can sort of see here, I've hit fixed scroll position, so that's going to stay up the top, and you can scroll down. So quite quickly.
So you can add like a blurred menu there.
Yeah.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
And then even when it gets
really
down,
nice.
So you can sort of, it blurs the background as well. So,
cool.
when you have your sticky navs.
And you can do some parallax kind of effects.
Yes, you can do parallax as well. So yeah, that's also a good point as well. But yeah, there's multiple ways to do that. So that was a quick website. Let's go to prototype. So here, prototype. If you're on a Mac, Control Tab would switch between design and prototype. So once you're actually done your design, you're prototyping up, you're going to go back and forth quite heavily. So,
that's good to know.
Yeah. So here you can sort of see straight up. Now it's going to give you these handles. So this is going to do it as a website. Here we don't want the whole site when you click anywhere on the site to move over. We only want the food aspect. So if I clicked anywhere here, I might click as a group. It depends how you want to set this up. So let's just say it's this one. I click, I can drag this across. So this is something we can do in a deeper session, but tap, and there are different triggers. So we've got tap. A new one that came out was voice, and we've got drag as well. So this is something really good. Your drag options.
We'll get you back, and we'll do a whole unpacking of this. I think. Yeah.
This whole aspect is it's really good, and you can spend a whole hour just doing this as well. Actions, auto animate. So there's basic animations you can do through this. Overlays is really good as well. If I wanted to hit a menu, I can have an overlay where the whole menu pops out as well. So something I think earlier to a question that sort of tapped on, but you can actually go quite deep on this as well. voice speech playback as well. So there are multiple ways you can actually do this. We're going to just do basic transition, different animations, left, right. Let's just keep dissolve, and you've got ease in, ease out, and time-ins. So this is something we can build in, but how that actually looks. So we go to our website, we hit play, scroll down, and we actually hit that, and then we can actually get the other website. So
Very cool.
that was very simple to do, very quick.
Yep.
Did take us an hour, but I think we talked a lot.
Well, we built the first page of a website in an hour, which is pretty good while we're having a chat.
Yes. So the next step is once you think, oh, this website is awesome, you want to share it with a client, going to hit share. So I would share for review, right? And it's going to pop up and give you a question. Allow comments so you can actually get feedback from the client. You can get it to open up in full screen. So, especially if you do a mobile device, they can also do that. Show hotspot hints. So if you're clicking everywhere, it will actually highlight, hey, here's the button, here's the button.
Press,
create a public link, or depending on the organisation, you can do private links. So, if you don't want it to go public or you don't want other people to share it, you can do that. I've done one that I've already made before because there's also the development one. So I'll show you what that looks like. Cool. And then we're basically done.
And we want to show everyone the Slack community as well.
Yeah. So let me open up my website.
It's very cool. We're both in the Slack group, regulars in there checking stuff out. We'll show you what that is at the end as well. It's perfect if you're new to Adobe XD.
I agree. Okay, so we have here is here's the website. So you can sort of see here, they click through this, have a view. Here they can make comments, they can pin it. You can highlight certain people as well, depending on how you want to do it. Again, they don't need the software to do this.
Yeah, so you can just send it to anybody.
Yeah. So it's a browser-based sort of response,
cool.
And that's all you need. This is the one which you just have, and we have the click-through as well.
Yeah.
So that is quite a basic sort of, site that you would forward off.
There you go.
If you're going to do, this is for a developer, it actually goes a little bit deeper. You can also, so you can put in your intention. So if I click here, it's going to show you fonts, colors, all the different aspects that have been used in this. And then, if I go in, so I click here, it shows you all the specs around that. And, again, everything that a developer would need. And if I went to the second part, I've already highlighted certain aspects. And I can even download assets. So the developer can download assets.
The developer can download your images and symbols and stuff?
Yep.
Wow,
so
that's pretty cool.
I've put in as a batch. So when you go to your layers, so if I go to my layers, I can click down into here, and then I can go in and I would highlight certain aspects. So I'm clicking that little thing, and that means that when I actually share this off, that the developer can pull this down and actually use this.
Very cool.
But hopefully that's everything.
It's like a crash course.
Yes, but but no crashing.
No crashing, which is always good
So,
when you're doing a demo. Maybe next time we'll have you on. We could do a bit more deeper into the animation. There's so much we could do there, and also probably like taking a look at mobile and gestures and stuff like that. Animations. You got voice animation. So I think if you're designing now, we've all all got speakable devices and all that stuff. So it's just the next realm of design, isn't it? It's true. Yeah.
So, very exciting.
It is very exciting.
Hopefully it was very helpful for everyone.
Yeah, we hope so. Thanks everyone for jumping into the chat.
Yes,
can we just bring up that Slack group just for a second? Are you logged into it?
I don't actually have that. No, I don't have that.
Okay, well there's a link in there. Just check out the. You're welcome, Charles. Just check out that Slack group. It's such a great community. There's over 10,000 people in there. I'd say probably the vast majority, like 9,900 of them, are new to XD within the last year or so. It's just a fantastic community. So if you're new, I strongly recommend you check it out. You can see everyone shares their work. You can get feedback from other designers. It's really, really cool. Oh, we do actually have it up. This is a link, so this is what it should look like. You might have to type it in from the chat. So anyone that's new in there, our pleasure, Christy. Thanks, Greg. Thanks for tuning in, guys. It's so nice to see you all. I was going to say regular faces, but regular names from last year. It's good to have you back. But yeah, jumping.
And yeah, this is what it looks like. So you got design feedback, chats, questions, introductions. 10,000 strong community.
Yeah.
And this is great thing here too. I think the actual the product managers of XD look at this regularly.
Yeah.
So
every day.
This is
They're all in there. Yeah.
you get a very one-on-one sort of experience.
Yeah. So hopefully we'll see you in there, and hopefully we'll see you next week here at Adobe APAC Live. Thank you everyone for jumping in the chat. Thanks Jane, thanks Divya, thanks Christine, and thank you Jason Grant.
Welcome. Hopefully it was good for everyone, and look forward to doing more.
We're here every Wednesday for 2019, so tune in at the same time every Wednesday and we'll be here.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot.